Welcome to Know Who, Know What, Grow. Today, we're going to help you align your team and accelerate your success with the Who, What Builder. Have you ever wondered if your company is solving the problem your customer feels most, or just the one you think they have? When a potential customer discovers your business, do you want them to instantly recognize themselves and say, "That's me, I need it"? Would you love for every person on your team to know in one powerful sentence exactly who you serve and what you solve? Are you ready to serve with even more heart, even more precision, even more impact? Because you know exactly who needs you and your company and exactly how you imagine the power of having a clear way to speak about who you are and what your company brings so that authentic customers are able to identify themselves, say yes easily, effectively, and profitably. So today, we are going to focus on a tool that's going to help you do just this. We're going to help you define 3 important concepts that can be used over and over again. Over time, you can continue to refine them as well. Today, we'll develop a draft of the first version, and then you'll be able to use our tool, the Who, What Builder, which you can use again to help you refine. So you're going to define who your customer is. And this is a clear description of who you're meant to serve, your authentic customer, including some psychographics and demographics that will help you identify who they are, one of your authentic customers. The second thing you're going to define is what your customer needs. 3 core problems or desires your customer needs your company to solve, including wants, needs, desires, challenges, and points of pain. Distill it down to 3 within this section. And then you're going to put it all together into a easy to remember and reusable statement that not just you are going to use as the founder, but everybody on your team will find their own ability to language this out. So a simple, declarative, short statement that articulates who you serve and what they need. It speaks to the unique value of your company and reels you to your unique customers. So today in this workshop, you're going to use this Who, What Builder. So you can download it, forceforgood.biz/weekly tool. It's available through May 4th on that site for free. And then you'll be able to define 3 things: who your customer is, what your customer wants, who, what states, and then 1 new habit and 1 specific action you could take in the next week that can really move this whole idea forward. Why this is important? What will this give you? It's going to give you magnetic clarity on who your customer is, not just for you, but for everyone in your company. So this is going to give everyone power and language to be able to speak clearly. Aligned growth. A crystal clear who, what statement gives your entire team a shared focus. Marketing, sales, product, and service all are pulling in the same direction, multiplying your growth with less friction. The next one is easier, more joyful selling, because you become less product focused and more customer focused. And when you become customer focused in this way, it becomes more fun to sell because now you're not selling, you're just serving. So sales stop feeling pushy. Instead, it feels like offering a beautiful, desirable solution to help someone who already knows that they need what you have because your words resonate at the level of their desires and their soul. The next reason, the fourth reason, is because it can help you build stronger brand loyalty. When you know your who, when you know your what, and when you can articulate the who and what together, your customers feel that you and everyone in your company truly understands that they don't just buy, they bond, they return, they refer, and advocate for your company, your brand with genuine love. The next reason, it's good to know your who, what statement. Number 5 is smarter and faster decisions. Should you launch a new product? Should you shift your pricing? Should you expand into a new market? With a clear who, what statement, strategic decisions become faster, more confident, because you and everyone on your team is deciding through the lens of who you're here to serve and what most critically they need from your company. The next reason number 6, is higher impact innovation. When you deeply understand and dwell for days, weeks, months, and years in who your customer is, and you have a clear picture of who they are and what they need, your customers' real world challenges and dreams and hopes become the source of innovation and ideas. Your company can innovate in ways that truly matter, creating offerings that are not just new, but needed. The last reason is renewed energy and purpose, relief from exhaustion and burnout and struggle and strife. Running a business without a clear focus on who your customer is and a personal, deep understanding of the pain you're helping solve, the relief you're bringing to them, it's exhausting. A who, what statement reconnects you and your team to the original heart of why you started the company, breathing fresh energy, passion, and meaning into your everyday work. Your who, what statement isn't just a marketing exercise. It's a source of alignment, acceleration, authentic. Not fun. I just love that. Okay, so moving on to the next topic. Let's talk about some examples of this so it can become real for you. One of my favorite companies, Rebellious Foods, check them out online, founded by this extraordinary, wicked, smart woman named Christy Lagali. I write about her in my book because she just blows me away. Interviewed her on the Wisdom of Women show. They are a plant-based food technology company, reinventing how food is made. The plant-based chicken is where they're starting. They focused their business initially and now, and they're growing very quickly. They just completed a $9 million capital raise. I think it was a Series A. They sell in bulk to schools, hospitals, and other food source buyers. The value of affordable, scalable, plant-based protein. And these buyers are motivated by sustainability and public health. That's who their customer is. 3 important aspects of who they are. So now I know where to find them. I'm looking for schools, hospitals, other food service buyers. So then what do they need? In the case of Rebellious Foods, these customers need institutional grade plant-based products. So it has to be at a level and a quality that can be produced and used at an institutional level. So you're feeding hundreds of people every day. It's got to work for that. It's got to have easy preparation. It has to be competitively priced. So it can't be super expensive like most plant-based food is. And they need a partner in sustainable food and innovation. So they want to keep being able to provide this and over time expand their product offerings from chicken nuggets to chicken patties to being able to have other types of offerings as well. So who and what? So their who, what statement sounds like this. We serve institutional food providers who want affordable, scalable, plant-based solutions that support people and the planet. So this is the example. This is what we're going to work towards today for you to come up with who your customer is and have three nice bullets about who they are. So now we're thinking about who your target customer is, your authentic customer right now. And then you're thinking about specific core needs and putting it together in a who, what statement. Next, okay. In another masterclass series, we have another exercise and another tool called the Authentic Customer Experience. And it helps us build an authentic customer avatar. You may have participated in that masterclass before. And today we are going to reference the authentic customer when we do this exercise. You don't need to have already done that work, although I highly recommend you go back, do it. You can get the tool itself by going to horseforgood.biz/book and picking up the book. You'll see that there's a whole chapter, chapter 5, that's dedicated to the authentic customer concept. Who your authentic customer is a fictional character. We talk about her in the book. We talk about it about how Janet was one of our authentic customers at Illumime Healthcare Company. She was a mother of 3 children, her youngest child being a child who was born at 26 weeks rather than the regular 40 weeks. The child had been in the hospital for many months and was ready to come home and needed at-home nursing. She had 2 other children under the age of 5, and she was a single mom. So this is the authentic customer we dedicate in pretty much all of our marketing, so much of our focus. This family, this child and the mother home from the hospital and making sure she had what she needed with nursing care at home. So see how we're talking about an authentic customer. It's a fictional character. It's someone you make up that has a whole life and story beyond just the things you're going to serve. You know, she's worried that she's not going to be able to go to work because what happens if the nurse calls out, or what happens if the child gets sick? When you start to see your authentic customer avatar as a human being, you start to become more aware. We're going to use that idea today in the exercise of a fictional character that you're going to put in your mind as you answer the questions that are part of today's who, what builder. This authentic customer avatar will inspire who they are, what they need, and the who, what statement. These new items will help us create clarity and specificity that you can put in front of your team. You're going to have a story, and then you'll have bullet points of who they are, what they need, and a clear way to articulate it. So all of this is going to fit within the Force for Good system, which we like to all have summarized on the 4-page growth plan. This is one of the tools out of the Force for Good system. You can pick this up at forceforgood.biz/weekly-tool. It's free there all the time. You can grab it. And so today, you see it has 4 pages, and you can see on the first page, we have this section, Know Who You Serve. And so specifically, there's 3 boxes under the authentic customer section, who they are, what they need, and the who, what statement. So you're going to take what you get today and put it right there on the 4-page growth plan. All right, keeping on, we're going to go to the who, what builder. I'm going to walk you through this exercise. And as I do, you can just start to write these elements down. If you have the who, what builder in front of you, write your answers down, and then you can keep it and refer to it. This is one of those tools that's good to do on a regular basis. It's also a great exercise to do with different members of your team. It could be part of a town hall. This is going to help people really well in the customer. We're going to go through these 4 steps in the who, what builder. So we're going to discover who they are, and that's your authentic customer. Then you're going to focus on specific problems and desires. And then you're going to select the 3 bullet points, who they are, and 3 bullet points of what they need. Then you're going to use a Mad Lib to help you craft your who, what statement and test it against some questions. And you'll have your draft and the who, what statement, which you can put on the 4-page plan. All right, let's get right into it. Let's get into discovering who they are. Here, I invite you to imagine your authentic customer avatar in your presence. If you've not done the exercise before, imagine a fictional idea of a person you would serve. Who are they? What's their name? How old are they? And get to know them as a person. And we're going to start to describe your authentic customer. In this exercise, we're digging in to find what's really core about who they are and what's core about what they need. So don't overthink it. So let's go ahead into this authentic customer avatar and describe where might they live and what are their circumstances. So think about where they live, not just physical location, although that could matter depending on your company. What kind of neighborhood? Do they live in an apartment? Do they live in a house? Do they live in a 2-bedroom house or a 5-bedroom house? Are they living close to water? Are they far from the water? What are their circumstances? What's their environment like? So just imagine what their circumstances and environment might be like and write those things down. The next thing you want to think about is, what's their family like? Are they married? Are they single? Do they have children? They have a boyfriend or girlfriend or a partner. Maybe they are a younger person and they live at home with their families, or maybe they are an elderly person and they live alone and they live in an assisted living situation. So where do they live and who's in their life to find those relationships? What do you notice about those relationships? What's working in those relationships? What's challenging in those relationships? So just start to understand their life, their health, right? Notice what their health might be like. Is this a person who is in great physical condition and runs marathons twice a year and goes to the gym every day? Or is this somebody who likes to watch a lot of television and occasionally goes for a nice walk, or spends a lot of time indoors? Or is it something in between, right? What is their health like? Are they struggling with a particular health challenge? Do they wish their body was different in some way? Do they wish their health was different in some way? Any core challenges you might imagine this person is experiencing. Think about their health, their well-being. Think about their mental health, their stress, their anxiety. What are those places in their life where they might have a lot of well-being and other places where they might? And also look to see, what is their career? What's their livelihood? Are they a stay-at-home dad? Are they a CEO of a company? Are they an investor? Are they traveling around for their career? Do they work nights? What are they doing for their career? What's important in their career? How do they feel about their career? Do they like it? Do they dislike their career? Are they stuck with it? What's their relationship to their career? So write down, this is your customer. What about their finances? Abundance galore, or are they struggling, living on a budget, or very month to month, or maybe they're on social services support. Maybe they're on Medicaid. Maybe they're getting support from some other way. Maybe they're a startup founder and they're struggling to make ends meet. What does their finances look like? Allow yourself to see their circumstances. Do they have one home, multiple homes? Are they able to invest in the things they want? Are they cutting back on certain things? Maybe they've lost a job recently. So understand what their financial situation is. And then think about what their interests are and their hobbies. What do they like to do? What are they interested in? What do they do for fun? Are they out of the world doing a sport? Are they a knitter? Are they a reader? Are they a writer? Do they like to travel? Do they have an interest in wine or food? Or are they sober, perhaps? And they're very involved in their sober community. So allow yourself to see their interests and hobbies. The magazine they might pick up, and types of books that turn them on, to get yourself really wrapped into who they are. Great. We can look at some more questions about who they are. What are their personal longings and goals? What are their personal longings and goals? What do they wish for? Maybe they're saving for a house, or want to send their child to college. Maybe there's a summer program they want to send their child to, and they're saving up for that. Or swimming lessons, right? Maybe they want to go on a trip. So what are their longings and goals? Maybe they're building their company, want a advancement of kinds. Maybe they want to go back to school. What do they wish was different about their life? What's getting in their way? So what do they wish was, and again, think about all the areas of their life. What did they wish was different? Physically, health-wise, socially, relationship-wise. What do they wish was different? Financially, career-wise. Write down, what do you notice is holding them back? What are the worries, concerns? Maybe they are worried about something going on in the environment or in the economy. Is there some kind of internal fear? So think about who they are, who they care most about. Maybe it's their children or their spouse or their best friend, their sister or their mother. What wishes and desires do they have for those relationships? What are those wishes and desires that they have, that child of theirs or their mother in assisted living, their husband, wife, spouse, or friend? Now let yourself see what keeps them up at night. What do they worry about with their family, their work, their relationships, their finances, their health? Think about what you offer at the company. What are the things related to what you offer that keep them up at night, that actually wakes them up? And what would breathe joy into their life? What can you see would breathe relief, joy, hope? What would help them feel a sense of relief? Think about your company and the things you offer. And what about what you offer could bring them joy? What would bring them relief? What would help them feel a sense of hope? What can be easier? And then how could your product or service help them? So maybe your software company will make the life of an accountant easier and help that accountant go from working 50 hours a week to working 40 and be able to make it to their kids' soccer game and not fight with their spouse about always being late. So what will really help them? And maybe it will make them look good in some way. In what ways could your company soothe, calm them down, bring them a sense of okayness, restore their faith, their fun, their life, their joy? Ask yourself, in what ways could your company enrich and empower that authentic customer avatar? In what ways could your company enrich and empower their lives? Write down what you see. And in what ways could your company make receiving desired solutions more clever and easy? Is there something you could do, given what you know now, that could make it better and easier? An example that we came up with at a domain was when nurses come in for an interview. We wanted to make it more comfortable. We know that what they want and need is to feel appreciated and valued. We wanted to make it more fun and lighter. So we had cookies. We would serve warm cookies. You warm up cookies, smelled like cookies. And then when they did their interview, when they were leaving, we would give the cookie. So whether or not we offered them a job, they had this moment of pleasantry. I can smell of warm cookies and being delivered some warm cookies. So what could you do to improve the experience and make working with your company a little more fun, lighthearted, easy, pleasant? All right. And now we're going to move on to the second area here of the Who What Builder. Part 2 is to focus on specific problems and desires. Here's where we're going to do a big brainstorm now. You've entered the mind of your customer. You've brainstormed a lot of their wants and needs. And you've also started to reflect upon your company, what you offer, your products and services, And you've probably noticed that some of your customer wants and needs can be addressed with the solutions your company offers. I can't make a failing marriage come back together if I'm selling supplements, but I could possibly see that helping that person feel better physically would help them to deal with their struggling relationship. So we want to start seeing that not all of your customers' needs can be solved by the company, but there are several that can. Which problems and desires can your company address or solve in some way, even if it is indirect? I'll give you an example of what I mean. In my company, Illume, thing that happens for families when you have a very special needs child living at home with you, if you don't have good care and support, and it's just you and your spouse trying to take care of this medically fragile person, it weighs heavily on your marriage. But when you have the support, then there's less stress, right? It also means both parents can go to work. It means that there's less likelihood they go bankrupt. It directly affects their ability to work, directly affects their ability to not go bankrupt. It also helps with making sure there's less stress on a marriage in a family. These weren't directly delivered by in-home nursing, but they were very much a part of what we help. So I would include those on this list. Other things like the clinical well-being of the child, that's something we directly can solve for. List all the problems and desires your company contributes directly or indirectly to this customer and to your customers. Just write them down. What are these problems or desires that are most important that your company wants to solve? As you list those problems and desires, we're going to filter through them and place a star next to any of the problems and desires that your company addresses directly. So you can advertise for it. We aren't going to advertise that we're going to keep you out of bankruptcy, but we can advertise that we'll give you high quality, dependable, reliable care. We can make sure we hire people that are going to show up and know what they're doing. Reliable care. And then you're going to place 2 stars next to any of the problems and desires your company excels at addressing directly. Maybe there's only 1 or 2 of these things that you do really well. And you want to find out what those items are. Pick 3 items that you're really good at excelling. Looking at the problems and desires with 1 or 2 stars, circle 3 that you feel are most deeply coveted or wanted by your authentic customer. Which desires are urgent and important to them? So now you've looked at everything you do directly and you're good at. And now you're circling 3 that your customer will really say this is super important. It's my most important on this list of things directly provided by your company. Okay, so now take a moment and be aware of what you've just discovered, and you'll be able to then come to this next page in the Who, What, Builder, Part 3, articulate who they are and what they need. Write down who they are, describing their key attributes. 3 short descriptive phrases to describe who they are. You can use demographics or psychographics, however you identify them. Parents of children waiting to come home from the hospital. We have a medically fragile child, right? Would be somewhere in mind, for example. With a force for good and women founders with teams of 5 or more who have a product or service they would like to deliver to thousands or millions of people. And for the purpose, it's important, just as important as. So these are 3 things, who they are. Now write down what they need. This is where you're finding the things your customer most needs from your company. What's burning, urgent, important problems they have. It's not a vitamin in the painkiller. It's 3 things that will give them hope, relief, joy. It's the things that keep them up at night. Write down 3 things. Use short yet descriptive phrases to describe what they need. Clear, short, fewer adjectives, more succinct. Okay, so you've got these new elements, who they are and what they need, and you'll be able to put these on your 4-page growth plan. Congratulations. Now that you've articulated in 3 bullet points who they are and what they need, the next step is to craft your value proposition or what statement. Here's where we use a build-it. We serve, and then who, and what, fill in the blank. Right? We serve complex care, around the clock nursing patients who want reliable, remarkable care, nursing care in their home. All right, so that's the who, what for a living. So what is yours? Go ahead and write it down. Five different drafts. Try it out 5 times. Your who and what statements. You'll know when you have a good who and what statement because it immediately will help a potential customer say, wow, that's me. They would say, yes, that's me. If they wouldn't say it because it's still too vague or hasn't really touched their nerve, they're still like, oh. Then it isn't a good who, what statement. It has to be really clear about who they are and what that pain point is or that desire that is so incredibly valuable to them to have that, wow, that's me reaction. Keep drafted. The second thing is that it helps someone say, well, that's not me, but I know someone just like that. They'll say, oh my gosh, my sister, she has that need. She exactly has that need. So it's got to be clear and specific. And it has to point to a pain that's so big that your person knows that's what she wants solved or that's what she's dreaming and hoping of. And the third thing is it has to point to an urgent, important need. It's not an urgent, important need for you. It's not an urgent, important need that your product solves. It's an urgent, important need of your. This is not about what is beautiful about your product or great about your team. This is about your customer. We've got 5 drafts now. Congratulations. The next thing is write down your who, what statement. Give yourself a breath and do it. Write it down. Our who, what statement is, and go ahead and write it down. We serve, and has this need for, and write down what that need is. All right, you did it. Super cool. Super amazing. This is so powerful. Now you've got 3 new elements that you can draw on. Clear who your customer is in 3 bullets, a clear what your customer needs in 3 bullets, and a succinct sentence of your who and what is. And so big kudos to you. Congratulations on this. So now you have entered the mind of your customer, not the mind of your product or your company, but the mind of your customer. You revealed their deep longings and pain. And just notice what new pain, new longings you discovered about them today, their humanity, their life, their needs, and really what's important to them and how you can become innovative in helping them solve those pains and those longings. You've aligned your company's energy with urgent, meaningful need, right? So this isn't just about the things that you're selling. These are urgent. You created a clear 3-bullet point, who they are and what they need. And now you have a clear magnetic who what statement. And you've reconnected to the purpose, power, and growth that's available for your company. How this 30-minute experience can help you really have a breakthrough and see how to better serve your customers. Please be sure to update your 4-page growth plan, who they are, what they need, the who what statement on page 1. And now let's choose a habit. Invoke a new habit that allows you every week to focus on who they are, what they need, and the who what statement. A high leverage habit is a repetitive ritual that almost guarantees breakthrough results, putting in place clarity and thinking about what's most important to the customer. What's a habit that would help you act on your new who what clarity? Some examples. You might have a weekly meeting. And at that meeting, you could assign someone, a different person every week, to restate and read the who what statement. I actually love doing this. We do that also with our core purpose. A good one to do. So Julia states the core purpose today, and Henry can read the who what statement. Now you've got the core purpose marinated together with who you are serving, what they need. The other thing you could do is create sales messaging directly from a statement. Every time you have a sales call, you're going to use that same messaging. You could put it on the back of a business card. And every time a business card is out, it's repeatable. You could use that statement to qualify new prospects. You could review it weekly to assure alignment in marketing. You could update it as time goes on and make it part of your quarterly activity. It could be that you share a story once a week with your team about a customer who you were able to identify their who what. So these are all ways to make your who what part of the everyday activity in your business and infuses it into the company. You could also take a high potency action, a bold move that accelerates impact this week, powerful action that will move things forward, ignite some momentum in the service of growth, growing impact, scale, and profit in your company. So why these high potency actions matter is they catalyze breakthroughs. They're out of the norm. There's things that you don't do every week. It's these one-time high potency actions that start to shift things. So I would say go to your website this week for sure. Update your website with your new who you serve, what they need, and the who what statement. So make it very clear. Think about all the places you can put it. Put it in your LinkedIn profile. Put it in your sales pitch deck. Be sure to meet with your team. Maybe host a town hall this week that talks about it and have a discussion or a roundtable event with your team about it. I would recommend highly that you create a 60-second video speaking the who what statement out loud, talking about who they are, what they need, bullets, and distributing it throughout all your socials. Put it out in the world so that it immediately starts to take flight. And use the statement to evaluate your current offers. Look at your current products and services, your customer service, all of your customer-facing operations, and see how can this statement, this new awareness, help you be better at what you do so that it resonates more profoundly and really offers even better solution to your customer. So today we learned how to use the How What Builder tool. We defined 3 core growth elements, who they are, what they need, and a who what statement. And now we've added these to your 4-page growth plan. Hopefully, as you look at your 4-page growth plan, you think about the who what and who what statement, that you will start to make some adjustments, right? You'll see how together these all help you have deeper clarity. One thing triggers clarity in another. You identified a habit and a high potency action to take. So excited for you. So many good things come from this clarity. As we continue on, be sure to look deeper at this idea of the who what. If you have a copy of my book, then chapter 6, read more about it there. When you get the book at aforceforgood.biz/book, you will receive the full toolkit, including the who what builder and all the other tools. You'll see more clearly how in chapter 6, whoever relates to the authentic customer. There'll be instructions for each tool, and you'll get the full course for Good System just by buying the book. I also recommend that you sign up for the tool of the week. This is free and available at courseforgood.biz/weekly tool. Every week we release a new tool with a masterclass. It's your opportunity to digest and bring forth one growth tool to inspire into your company every week. And the next step is to join the Growth Accelerator. This is the most powerful way to implement the Force for Good system. You install the full system of propelling high potential, exponential, high impact growth into your company. It covers the entire 4-page growth plan and start out by actually creating the 4-page growth plan and working through each of the different elements. And you can do it alone or with your team. And there's tier pricing starting at $599. Very affordable. And the idea here is you install this in about 12 weeks' time. There's also options within the accelerator to get guided support or one-on-one support. So a forceforgood.biz/accelerator, and this is your key to helping you really see the full benefit of the Force for Good system. Thank you for joining me today. And just remember, the world is made better by women-led business. So let's go make the world